Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Kirsten's surprise. Chapter 2, A Crown for a Queen. Kirsten sat with Elizabeth and Anna in a cozy corner of the barn. These days it was much too cold to play in their fort under the cherry tree, so they brought their dolls inside and scooped out rooms for them in the sweet-smelling hay. The barn cats prowled around, switching their tails. They were too wild to be petted or put in doll dresses. Kirsten was trying to make a dress for little Sari. She wrapped little Sari in one of Papa's white handkerchiefs and tied a piece of red yarn around it for a sash. Then she pretended to walk little Sari across the hay to Anna. "Do you think little Sari looks like St. Lucia?" she asked Anna. Anna looked up in surprise. "Who? St. Lucia. Don't you know St. Lucia?" Kirsten asked, puzzled. Anna shook her head. "Is she someone you knew in Sweden?" Now Kirsten was really startled. "No, Anna, we celebrate St. Lucia's Day in Sweden. It was a very precious part of Christmas." "I don't remember Sweden," Elizabeth said. "I was just a baby when Mama left. We just celebrate Christmas Day." Kirsten's spirits fell. She hoped the first Christmas in America would be just like the Christmas in Sweden. How could it if they didn't have St. Lucia's Day? She thought Mama would be disappointed. It was her favorite celebration. "Tell us about St. Lucia's Day," Anna said. She sat her doll in her lap as though the doll listened too. "In Sweden, St. Lucia's Day begins the Christmas season," Kirsten explained. "It's the darkest day of the whole year. It's so dark that there's only daylight for a few hours. But no one minds the dark because St. Lucia's Day is so much fun." Elizabeth was braiding a straw belt for her doll. "What do you do?" "In each family, one girl gets to be St. Lucia Queen. She dresses up in a long white dress and a red sash, and she wears a crown of green leaves and lighted candles. She gets up very, very early in the morning while it's still pitch black out and everyone's asleep. She lights the candle in her crown, and she goes from room to room in the dark house carrying a tray. First she goes to the parents' room. Even though they help her get ready, they can hardly believe their eyes when they see her. She looks so beautiful in her costume. Then she wakes all the rest of the family and invites them to share Lucia buns and coffee. Then breakfast is the first party of the holiday season," Kirsten explained. Anna's gray eyes grew wider and she hugged herself. "Oh, a white dress and a crown. It sounds beautiful. I wish we had St. Lucia's Day." That gave Kirsten an idea. She motioned her cousins to draw closer. "Why don't we make St. Lucia's Day celebration, just the three of us? We won't tell our parents or the boys. We'll get everything ready and surprise them. Wouldn't that be fun?" Anna's round face glowed with excitement. "We'll keep it a secret." "Ooh, I love secrets." But Elizabeth cocked her head and frowned. "It would be exciting, but how can we get all the special things we need?" "That won't be hard," Kirsten insisted. "Mama always has coffee, and we can slice a loaf of our Christmas bread and pretend it's Lucia buns. They'll take care of the tray." "What about the crown?" Elizabeth asked. "I think we'd make one from wild grapevine and wintergreen leaves." "Shouldn't be hard to do." As Kirsten planned, she grew more and more excited. Now Anna was too eager to sit still. She hopped to her feet and waved her arms, and the cat scattered and hissed. "You can be St. Lucia, Kirsten, because you know how." Anna cried. "But where will we get a white dress and a red sash?" asked Elizabeth. "I have a white dress," Kirsten answered. "Well, it's really a night dress, but it's just what we need. I wore it last year for St. Lucia's Day. It's in our trunk." The other girls looked at each other in silence. They let out a sigh. "But your trunks aren't here," Elizabeth said. When is St. Lucia's Day?" Anna asked. "It's December 13th, Kirsten said. She quickly counted her fingers. "It's 5 whole days from now." Elizabeth shrugged sadly. "Then it's no use planning. Your father doesn't get the trunk. There's no white dress and sash." Anna let herself tumble backward into the hay. When she got up, hay was stuck to her braids. "It was a grand idea, but we can't have candles for it either. Mom would surely miss them if we took without asking her. But now Kirsten was determined to make a St. Lucia celebration. She had to think of something. Of course, they could ask Miss Winston. Kirsten got to her knees and grabbed Anna's ankle to get her attention. We could ask Miss Winston to get us some candles and help us. Winston was the teacher at Powder Keg School. She'd been living at Uncle Old's house for several weeks and would stay there all winter until she moved in with another family. Anna grinned. Oh, I know Miss Winston would like a party. She'd been telling us all about the Christmas parties back east. It makes her sad to think she'll miss them, and she has extra candles in her trunk. That leaves the dress, Elizabeth said slowly. I don't know. Elizabeth, Papa practically promised me that he'd get the trunk soon. Kirsten said, we'll get all the things we need and we'll practice. When he gets the trunks, we'll be ready. Elizabeth looked relieved. We should start getting everything ready now. We have to practice up in our room so the boys don't know what we're doing. And we'll hide the crown under the bed, won't we? Anna cried. Or under Miss Winston's bed. They never looked there. Suddenly, Elizabeth held a finger to her lips. Shh. Kirsten listened. She heard the cows mooing and Papa's deep voice that brought them in to be milk. It's Papa, she whispered. But right now, and ask him to get the trunks. Tell him it's important. Kirsten took a deep breath. She knew Papa hated to be pestered, but she had to ask him about the trunks one more time. She climbed out of the hay, went over to Papa, who sat on a small stool milking a brown cow. He leaned his forward against the cow's side. Steam rose from the pail of warm milk. Papa, I've been thinking about our trunks again. Can you please get them soon? Kirsten asked. Papa's breath was white as clouds of bliss. He raised his eyebrows. Just why are the trunks so important, Kirsten? Kirsten stubbed her boots against the empty bucket. I remembered our candlesticks are in the painted trunk. Mama wanted the candlestick for Christmas. We all want things we can't have. I've heard enough about the trunk, Papa said. He squirted a stream of milk into the mouth of a gray cat by Kirsten's feet. Please, Papa. Now Papa scowled. Don't ask me again or I'll be angry. Kirsten walked slowly to the stall where Blackie, Uncle Olaf's horse, munched hay. She patted his coat, which was thickened against the cold. What can I do now? She murmured to Blackie. Everything depends on that trunk. Blackie snuffled and pushed his snot nose against her as though she had sensed discomfort. On the way home from school the next day, Kirsten cut a length of grapevine Elizabeth packed wintergreen, and then they took them to Anna Elizabeth's sleeping loft to work on the St. Lucia's crown. Miss Winston was there. She sat on her bed to grade arithmetic tests. Of course you may use some of my candles, she said when they asked her for them. She took 3 new candles from the trunk at the foot of her bed and cut them to make sure they were the right length. I'll hide the crown in my trunk if you like, Miss Winston added. I like surprises too. So that part was easy, but making the crown was harder. The first crown Elizabeth braided was too small. It looks like a bird's nest, Anna said when she perched on top of Kirsten's head. The second crown Elizabeth made was much too large. It slipped right over Kirsten's head and laid her on her neck. And that one looks like Blackie's harness, Anna told her. Measure Kirsten's head first, Miss Winston suggested. She gave Elizabeth a piece of string. Elizabeth tied the string around Kirsten's head, and she braided the grapevine exactly the size of the circle of a string. The next time the crown fit perfectly. Elizabeth stuck strings of green into the braided vine, and Miss Winston set the crown in securely. And then they decided the tray would be laid out. We'll have coffee and Christmas bread and a candle in the center. All the lights will be laid out except for candles, Kirsten said. St. Lucia comes into her dark room with her crown growing. Anna put the crown on her own head and pretended to carry a tray. She walked slowly around the room. What does Lucia say now? She asked. Say, St. Lucia invites you to breakfast. Kirsten told her. Anna cried, "Oh, this is fun." Elizabeth came and sat on the trunk on the bed beside Kirsten. She took Kirsten's hand. "This is a good plan. Really it is. If your trunk doesn't come in time for St. Lucia's Day, we can have the celebration next year. Don't worry, Kirsten," Elizabeth said. But Kirsten couldn't help but worry. She had butterflies in her stomach. She'd gotten everyone's hopes up, especially her own. And she was afraid to ask Papa about the trunk again. She would just have to wait and see what happened. There was nothing else she could do now. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.